The invisible floor. No one really believed the rumors about the Vardan Tech Park. A glass skyscraper shimmering in the heart of Mumbai, spotless, secure, and filled with thousands of IT workers. But beneath the shine, the night had its secrets. Vivek Jha had worked there for 5 years as a back-end data executive. He was disciplined, quiet, and grateful for his job. His family back in Bhagalpur depended on him, an aging father, a religious mother, and 2 married sisters. Every rupee mattered, every shift counted. When the company emailed him about a 3-month rotational night shift, he didn't argue. Extra pay meant extra peace for his family. The only strange thing? The new shift location, the 13th floor. Technically, the building didn't even have one. The elevator buttons jumped from 12 straight to 14. When Vivek asked the security guard, the man hesitated. "Sir, 13th floor isn't on the main access system. You'll have to take the service stairs from the 12th corner." Vivek frowned. "That small locked door near the pantry?" The guard nodded slowly. "Yes. It opens only at night." That night, Vivek climbed those narrow service steps for the first time. The corridor smelled faintly of paint and metal. The 13th floor was silent, colder than the rest of the building, with just a few scattered desks and humming servers. Only 2 people worked there, Vivek and his senior, Rajesh. Rajesh had been with the company longer. He preferred the night shift. Peaceful, no boss breathing down your neck. He'd laugh. He'd also heard the whispers, that the floor was haunted, that a tragic incident once happened there. But like most practical men, he dismissed them as excuses for lazy employees. For the first few nights, everything seemed normal. The monotony of data entry, the faint buzz of air conditioning, the soft click of keyboards. Until one night, around 2:15 a.m., something changed. The printer beside Vivek suddenly came alive, paper feeding, whirring, printing. Rajesh looked up. "Did you send a document?" "No," Vivek replied. He stood, walked to the printer, and pulled out the paper. It was completely blank. They stared at it for a moment. Rajesh tried to lighten the mood. "Maybe the ghosts want to file their reports too." They both laughed weakly, but the silence that followed felt heavier than before. Next to Vivek's desk, a small CCTV monitor looped security footage from different parts of the floor. Normally, he ignored it. But that night, a flicker caught his eye, a shadow moving across the corridor. He leaned forward. Someone, or something, had just walked past. "Must be security," he muttered. But when he rewound the footage, the hallway was empty. Rajesh rolled his chair closer. "Wait, look there." The shadow stopped behind Vivek's desk. Then vanished. "Vivek, behind you!" Rajesh shouted. Vivek turned instantly. Nothing. Just cold air brushing his neck. For a few seconds both men sat frozen, their reflections trembling in the computer screen. Then, pretending to laugh it off, they went back to work. But neither said another word till sunrise. From that night onward, small things began happening. Headphones playing static. Random files opening themselves. And sometimes, the printer spitting out more blank pages, each time at 2:15 a.m. Still, they said nothing. Because in their company, fear could cost you your job. But one night, while Rajesh went to get water from the pantry, Vivek's headphones suddenly hissed with dozens of overlapping voices. Whispers, shouts, laughter, all at once. He pulled them off in panic. The office was silent. Then his eyes drifted toward the far corner, meeting room 3. It was always locked. No one ever used it. But now, a thin beam of yellow light glowed beneath the door. And just as suddenly it flickered out. Vivek's pulse quickened. For the first time, he wondered, was this floor truly empty? Excellent. Continuing seamlessly from Chapter 1, here's Chapter 2. The meeting room. Written in your cinematic storytelling tone, almost equals 700 words. This chapter builds tension gradually, showing the psychological shift from curiosity to dread, while keeping everything realistic and YouTube appropriate. The meeting room. The night after the printer incident, the 13th floor felt different. Not colder, just heavier. Like the air itself was aware that something wasn't right. Vivek arrived a few minutes early, carrying 2 cups of vending machine coffee. Rajesh was already at his desk, eyes glued to the CCTV feed. The black and white images cycled through silent corridors and empty work bays. Any movement? Vivek asked. Rajesh shook his head. Nothing yet. But last night, I swear I saw someone standing near the meeting room door. When I blinked, gone. They both laughed uneasily, pretending it was exhaustion playing tricks. The building at night was always silent. Only the low hum of servers and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights filled the void. But lately, that silence began to sound like breathing. Around 1:30 a.m., Rajesh went to refill his bottle. Vivek stayed back, scrolling through a report. Then, that sound again. WHRR clack. The printer. Printing by itself. Vivek's stomach tightened. He approached it slowly. Another blank sheet. But this time, faintly visible across the page were smudged letters, like something pressed onto it without ink. When he tilted it toward the monitor's glow, he could just make out a word. Stay. He dropped the page and backed away. Rajesh returned. What happened? Vivek pointed at the floor, but the sheet was gone. They searched under desks, behind bins, nothing. The paper had vanished as if it never existed. By 2 a.m., the corridor lights flickered once. Twice. Then stabilized. Rajesh forced a grin. Typical maintenance glitch. But they both knew maintenance never worked past 7 p.m. To distract himself, Vivek opened the CCTV feed again. One of the cameras, the one aimed at meeting room 3, showed static. Then, a dim flicker of light appeared through the interference. He leaned closer. Inside the static, something moved, a faint silhouette pacing back and forth. Rajesh saw it too. Could be a reflection. Vivek rewound the footage 10 seconds. The figure appeared again, but this time it was standing still, right at the glass wall, facing the camera. A hollow face. Pale. Expressionless. And yet, somehow looking directly at them. Rajesh slammed the monitor off. Enough. We're imagining things. But neither of them went near that room again that night. The next evening, they met the security guard near the lobby. Vivek finally asked, Why is meeting room 3 always locked? The guard hesitated, eyes darting to the CCTV camera above his head. Then he whispered, Old staff say something happened there, years ago. A man, senior analyst, collapsed during a night shift. Heart attack. Died before help arrived. After that, they sealed it. The company didn't want bad press. Rajesh laughed nervously. Ghost stories to scare new hires. The guard didn't smile. Sir, you asked? I answered. That night, they both worked slower. Every click felt too loud. Every hum of the servers felt like someone sighing. At 2:15 a.m., Vivek noticed condensation on his monitor, a faint mist forming despite the air conditioning. His fingers froze on the keyboard. He could smell something metallic, not blood, exactly, but close. Then, from the far end of the floor, a dull thud. Another. Like footsteps, soft and deliberate. Rajesh turned, eyes wide. You heard that? Before Vivek could answer, the thud stopped. The silence was so thick he could hear his own pulse. Then came the whisper. Not from across the room, but through his headset. A distorted voice murmuring in fragments. You saw it! You should not have seen it! Vivek ripped the headset off. The voice stopped instantly. Rajesh, trembling, pointed toward meeting room 3. A warm glow was seeping under the door again. Vivek's mind screamed to run, but his legs moved on their own. He stepped closer, the floor beneath him creaking ever so slightly. The glow pulsed, yellow, then white, then nothing. He reached out and touched the doorknob. It was cold. Too cold. Behind him, Rajesh whispered, Don't open it. Vivek exhaled. Maybe it's just a light left on. But when he looked down, he noticed something odd. The reflection of his own hand on the metallic knob wasn't moving with him. He froze. The reflection smiled. Vivek stumbled back, hard hammering, knocking over a chair. The lights flickered violently, and every monitor on the floor blinked to life, displaying the same message. Why did you come back? By morning, the power systems logged no errors. The IT department claimed no such message existed. But the CCTV playback for that night, every camera on the 13th floor, was missing between 2 o'clock and 3:30 a.m. Only the meeting room 3 camera remained. A single frozen frame. The empty hallway. And behind the glass, a faint outline of 2 men sitting at their desks. Except the floor was empty when the image was taken. The shift that never ended. After that night, nothing felt normal again. The 13th floor wasn't just cold anymore, it felt alive. Vivek tried convincing himself it was exhaustion, hallucinations, or stress from the night shift. But when he looked at the saved CCTV footage the next morning, his hands trembled. The recordings were gone. Deleted. Every backup corrupted. Only one clip remained, a static frame showing meeting room 3. Empty. Yet in the reflection of the glass, 2 faint outlines stood behind the camera. Vivek and Rajesh. But the footage was timestamped 3 hours after they had both left. That day, either man spoke about it. They worked in silence, going through the motions. But something inside both of them had changed, the weight in their chest, the quiet sense that they weren't alone anymore. During their break, the housekeeping staff whispered about strange noises at night, voices from the meeting room, chairs scraping across the floor, keyboards clicking even when no one was logged in. Rajesh tried laughing it off. Maybe the ghosts are handling extra shifts. But even he didn't sound like he believed it anymore. By the end of the week, Vivek couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flickering screens, and a line typed in the same distorted font from before. You didn't open the door. He tried calling the security guard from that night, but the number was no longer in service. He checked the building logs, and discovered something terrifying. The guard's name wasn't listed anywhere. No record. No shift ID. Nothing. As if the man never existed. That night, around 3:10 a.m., Rajesh's voice broke the silence. Vivek, the door. Vivek turned. The door to meeting room 3, the one that was always locked, now stood slightly ajar. A faint, bluish light leaked from inside. They stared for what felt like forever. Rajesh took one hesitant step forward. Maybe someone from maintenance? No, Vivek whispered. They never work after midnight. The air thickened. The faint hum of the servers faded away until all they could hear was the soft creaking of that door, moving, inch by inch. Rajesh's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, only to freeze. A notification appeared. File received, meeting_room 3_feed.mp4. His thumb hovered over it. Who sent this? Before either could answer, every monitor on the floor blinked to life, showing live CCTV footage of themselves standing right there. But behind them, on screen, another figure stood between them. Still. Silent. Watching. Rajesh spun around, nothing. Let's go, Vivek whispered. Now. They ran toward the service stairs. But as soon as they reached the 12th floor landing, the emergency lights flickered off. The stairwell turned pitch black. Footsteps echoed above, soft, descending. Rajesh aimed his phone's flashlight upward. The beam caught something, a bare foot stepping down the metal stairs. Then another. He dropped his phone, and it tumbled into the dark. Run! Vivek shouted. They sprinted down, bursting out onto the 12th floor, gasping for breath. But when they looked behind, the stairwell door had vanished, replaced by a blank white wall. It was as if the 13th floor never existed. Morning came. They went straight to HR, trembling, pale, desperate to explain. But when Vivek mentioned 13th floor, the HR executive blinked in confusion. There's no 13th floor in this building, she said flatly. Maybe you're mistaken. Vivek's voice shook. Ma'am, I worked there. For 3 months. She handed him his employee record. His shift log showed only day hours. No night duty. No record of Rajesh's assignment either. They left the building that afternoon and never went back. A week later, Vivek received a call from Rajesh's wife. Rajesh hadn't come home in 2 days. When the police checked his apartment, his laptop was still on. On the screen was a paused video file, meeting_room3_feed.mp4. The image showed Rajesh, sitting alone in the 13th floor office. Behind him, the meeting room doors slowly opening. And as the camera panned slightly, a reflection appeared in the glass wall, a man who looked exactly like Vivek, typing at the desk beside him. Except Vivek was home that night. Now, years later, he avoids all corporate buildings. He doesn't use elevators. He doesn't even own a printer. But every night around 3:10 a.m., his laptop screen glows on its own. And across the black screen, words begin to type themselves. Shift 13. Resume duty. He shuts the lid each time, trembling, but it always reopens on its own.